Hello, hello. Leanna here with Leanna Jane Lewis, Transformational Coaching. Woo, what a title. Lovely to have you. I work with visionaries to help them get clear, confident, heal along the way so you can show up to your life. Let's show up to our life. But the truth is, it's been kind of hard to show up to our life in the last few years because let's get real. It's been a challenging last few years. And I think what it's done is it's gotten us really honest. That was my guiding word for last year, honesty. And I really saw that in the collective. And also what it's brought up is because when we get honest, it means we're living ideally with truth, right? That we're willing to tell the truth. It takes bravery and courage to be honest with ourselves. But because of that, even when we get out there, it's like, ooh, do I trust that it's safe to live my honest life, to follow my heart, to get real with myself? So trust, if you're going through the gateways of like, ooh, I don't know. Um, this is what this video is for. Trust, right? Like this is what we're doing right now because this is what we need. So I've sent out a list to my email list, 3 key questions. I'm going to share them with you now. If you're not on my list and you want to be, by all means, we'd love to have you. Something off socials is always really nice. And I'll pop that below. So let me just go ahead and share these 3 really key questions for you. Okay. So trust. Here we go. The very purpose of these kinds of questions is to understand ourselves. When we understand, we know why we do, we know why we don't, and we have a better understanding of how we can, right? We know why we do, why do we do things? Why do we not do things? And how can we do more of the things that we want to, right? More of the things we want to that we may not be doing in its full capacity right now. So these are the 3 questions. This is it. This is it. Feel free to like pause a video, screenshot, take a picture, write it down. But just know that less is more when it comes to the healing journey, right? When it comes to journaling. Sometimes I see these blogs with like 50,000 questions and I'm like, oh girl, that's just like my brain freezes. So this is it. This is all you need. This is it. I'm going to go through each one because I want you to really get what each one is really about. Okay. So that you can actually get the value. Okay. So the first one is around getting curious. Curiosity is your best bet for healing, for understanding, for moving forward, for disrupting any patterns that you find yourself in, right? Because we are in patterns. If you don't like it, you gotta change it, right? But sometimes we just don't know where to begin. So curiosity is also very open. It's very willing energy. So we want to get curious. And we kind of just want to like lay it all out from the get-go. What is it that you're not trusting? Just what do you not trust? And be patient with this question. Give it time because most of this lives in the dark. And in other words, it lives in the parts and places in you that you've kind of learned are best pushed aside. We may call them the shadows. We may call them your exiles. Just know that they kind of live in the dark. Okay. So what do you not trust? And this is where we want to get specific. We want to clarify. We really want to clarify. So is it a person you don't trust? Is it an experience that taught you not to trust? Is it a place? Is it something that about yourself? Is it a particular relationship? Is it the community you live in? Is it the place you live in? Is it not trusting a decision you made? So get clear about what is it really, right? And one of the things I ask my clients often, especially in group programs, right? Because it helps to illuminate the process a little bit better for everybody, which is when somebody shares the first thing, like, what do you not trust? Well, I just don't trust people on the internet. So, sorry, I'm just going to pause this for a second because I notice I have a lot of messages coming in. Hold on. Let's try that again. Okay, so you're just getting curious. And again, I will restate over and over, please be patient with yourself as you come into the truth. When you speak the truth of what is really going on, you'll feel it, right? You'll feel it in your body. You may feel it in your throat. A lot of clients feel it in sort of this upper area, right? Which is is very spiritual centers because it's bringing forward your truth, right? And that takes bravery, right? Okay, so get curious and clarify. What is it really going on? What's really happening? What is it that you don't trust? What's the problem, Bob? That's one way to say it. Then you want to notice the trigger. So this is the very nuanced, the subtleties of healing. Okay. You have to practice and practice and practice this, because the ultimate goal and idea around this second question is I want you to start to notice kind of what domino effect happens with the different voices in your head or the different parts of yourself. What's the outcome internally when you consciously recognize these triggers? Like, one way to put it is like, I'm totally addicted to the show Hoarders. It's like I'm hoarding the show Hoarders. But there's a British version which I absolutely love, because what they do is they take all the stuff that the clients that they're working with have collected in their home, and they move it all to a warehouse. And so these people walk in and they have to see everything in their home, right? And it just like, it shows them everything that they're holding on to. It shows them a visual in a different way, right? And so they are going to get triggered by that. Might bring up shame. They might laugh, but be embarrassed. So the point of this is I want you to see all the things inside your system that happen when you get honest. And it might not be comfortable. I'm not expecting it to be, right? It's okay. But notice the triggers. In other words, to do that, just simply answer this question. Now that you've brought up what you don't trust, you've brought it forward, you're like, I don't trust this, 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 this. What it really is I don't trust this. How do you feel toward the parts of you that don't trust? How do you feel toward the parts of you that are holding this mistrust or lack of trust, or a scarcity in trust, or a fear, right? Mistrust is fear, right? So how do you feel toward that? And just notice if you're feeling annoyed, like, oh God, if they would just go away, like if I could just get rid of these parts of me that don't trust, I'd be able to do so much more, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. It's not quite like that. I'd love it to be, but it's not, right? It's not. It's so much more than that. And I'll save that for another video. But how you feel toward these parts, I want you to notice what really shows up. And again, be willing to get honest. I feel annoyed. I feel frustrated. I feel sad. I feel defeated. I feel confused. I feel overwhelmed. Often if you're feeling overwhelmed, by the way, it's because there's too many different voices. There's a technique for that. Again, I'll have to share that in another video. I can't possibly do them all. But start to notice how you feel toward those parts of you that do not trust. That's going to give you a general sense of, hey, when I get triggered and I see somebody and they remind me of how much I don't trust this aspect in people, then I notice that this voice comes up, this voice comes up, this voice comes up, this part gets activated. And it just helps to understand what's in our home. Right? What's in our home? We need to know what's in there. We need to get honest. The last part is here to help resource you. In other words, for you to feel empowered, for you to know that you have some kind of control over this, right? Okay, so. Sorry, I got a wee little cough, but I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to keep going. So you want to resource yourself. You have so many parts of you that are incredibly helpful. All of your parts have your best interest in mind, okay? All the different yous inside, all the different voices have your best interest in mind, and they all have good will toward you. They're just looking out for you, right? Some of them, however, still think you're 7 years old and need to hide under your bed, right? And so they just need some healing. They need some updating. They need a little bit more in that healing capacity, right? But many parts of you are very much in a leadership role, and they're incredibly resourceful. They are resources that you can lean into, and they can really be helpful. So I want you to notice that there's so much about yourself, and there's so much about life that you actually really do trust. So I want you to also be aware of the things that you do trust. And often what you'll notice is the things that you trust in the world around you are reflections of things that you trust within yourself. Okay, I'm going to say that again. It's just like there's a million things in healing we need to hear over and over again. The things that you trust in the world outside of you are often reflections of things you trust within you. Okay, so just know that that's there. Okay, so this last one is there to help leave you in a state of resourcefulness, in a state of seeing the value that your inner voices do have toward you, rather than just looking at what it is you don't trust and the triggers you have. I want you to feel resourceful after. Okay, that's it for now. More coming, especially around trust. If there's a particular topic around healing you would like to hear about, please put it in the comments. Also, just put in the comments like, hey, saw the video, and tell me what was helpful. Tell me what was helpful. What question did you really resonate with? Did you find is going to be the most helpful for you? And if you're still here at the end, let me know. I watched the whole thing and I totally appreciate you. And go out and be amazing because you are.